Hello, and welcome to the Pricing Tool tutorial. I'm Xavier Valls, EMEA Segment Manager and responsible for the contractual printing program. In the next session, I'm going to cover the Pricing Tool. The Pricing Tool is an Excel-based file that will assist you in the process of quote and bill contracts for your customers. The Pricing Tool includes and consider several elements to do the right and accurate pricing. The first thing is select the product and choose the length of the contract. But also, we need to have an estimation of print usage, what type of applications the customer will print, and so on. But also includes all the rest of elements, not only the hardware, but also the services and all the consumables to create the right pricing. There are different types of billing models that we can apply in a pay-per-use contract. The more common are the ones you see on the screen. Let's start with the first one, what we call level pay or base, fix. This is mainly in the monthly billing that the customer will get will be a fixed fee, a fixed price every month. And it will be based on a forecast on usage. At the end of the year, there's going to be a reconciliation based on what has been invoiced in the fixed fee per month with the real usage that the customer has done. The second way of billing combines a fixed fee, a base, plus a click. It's called base plus click. The base typically in the invoice includes the renting or leasing of the hardware device. And the variable part is the click, and it reflects the usage of the customer. The third one is click, just pure click. Everything is variable. So the click includes everything. At the end of the month, you see how many clicks the customer has done, and then you can invoice. If there is no printing, no invoice. Then, let's understand what do we mean by a click. A click is a way to measure usage of the customer. And it's typically two ways or two types of clicks. One of them is milliliters. Machines are reporting the milliliters used. You as a partner can remote monitor the machine, and you can know the milliliters that the machine is printing. So at the end of the month, you can take the number of milliliters and then you apply the click rate for milliliters that the tool will tell you. Milliliters are quite straightforward, but sometimes are not the language the customer talk. This is why we also have another type of click that is square meter. A square meter, it talks more the language of the customer, square meters printed by month, but as you can imagine, in large format, the amount of ink we can place in a square meter can be very different from lines where we have a small coverage to a poster where we have a high ink coverage. So this is why we need to somehow, when we do click rates for square meters, we need to consider that. For that purpose, in HP, we have created what we call categories. So the machine, the printer, will be reporting to you through PartnerLink how many different print categories or types of application the customer has print every month. So you can have different click prices by category printed. This somehow manage this situation. Let's understand a little bit more in detail. As said, we have different type of application. The customer can print from monolines, CAD drawings, to renders. Maybe this is then a low density images, or can even print posters, high density images. So we can set in the printer and by customer different thresholds. Typically we put 0 to 10%, we consider the category of mono and color lines. From 10 to 50% coverage of ink, we consider low density images. And from 50 to 100, we consider the category of high density images. As said, at the end of the month, we can track and pull from the printer how much square meters of these categories the customer has printed. So then we can invoice more accurately. As said, you can customize these thresholds per printer and per customer. So you can have really an accurate measurement of the consumption for the customer and do the right billing. So do we choose click and invoice by square meters or invoice by milliliters? That's always this discussion. Let me clarify a little bit pros and cons of each. Let's start with milliliters. In the bottom part of the slide, you can see that milliliters don't consider categories. You just track number of milliliters, you apply the click rate of the milliliter that the pricing tool will provide you, and you invoice. Number of milliliters by click rate, that's all. It's very simple, very transparent, but some customers don't talk in milliliters. They don't like too much, they don't understand. They talk in more in pages or square meters. So milliliters have sometimes this misalignment in terms of language with the customer. On the other side, milliliters are more easy to benchmark against the cost of the supplies in the market. So you may face some challenge of customers telling, oh, the milliliter price in the market is this one and you're charging this one. So you may have more challenge to improve your margins. Okay? And then finally, the benefit for milliliters is that it's very easy. No complexity, very accurate, and no risk for you. Now let's move to square meters. Square meter has the benefit that you talk the language to the customer. Customers in the office are used to cost per page. So here we're doing a similar thing, cost per square meter. So same language to the customer. Secondly, if you invoice by cost per square meter, you are pricing differently than price of milliliters. So no benchmark in the market, no benchmark in the transactional way of selling supplies. So this gives you more room for you to improve your margins. The low light is that there is some more risk because, as I said, when you print a square meter, you can place different amount of ink. So if the customer is printing a lot and putting a lot of ink, you may be having some risk on your financials. But to do that, we have print categories. You can see here that we can have print categories for mono, color, low density image, and high density images. So this is a way to minimize the risk. So you can track and have a square meter rate by category printed. Okay? The other way of doing is take the average. If you have the mix of the customer, you can apply an average square meter rate. Okay? Okay, so now let's move to the pricing tool itself. The pricing tool itself, it will assist you to define the click rates, either milliliters or square meters. So you need to put several inputs like printer, print usage, mix of applications, what's your labor costs, hour rate, your margins. All those elements are inputs that you need to put there. And as a final output, you get the click rates. Okay? It also provides additional information like the total cost of billing, not only the click rate, but how much the customer will pay every month. So you can somehow, when you are selling a contract, you will be able to tell the customer this is going to be the estimate printing cost for you at the end of the month. And also it will compare different types of products we have. For a certain customer with a certain print usage, it will tell you for the different products which is the more optimal in terms of total cost of printing. Okay? So let's go and move to the pricing tool. This is the pricing tool designed for creating and assisting you for pay-per-use contracts. First thing we need to do is work in the input section of the Excel file. Here you need to choose the product, which SKU the customer is interested or is more suitable for the customer. You can see that products range from 1600 and above. So let's imagine that the customer is interested in a Designjet 1600. Okay, here you can see some of the accessories that you can tick as well. And then what you need to go now is define the profile of the contract. So first thing is how many months. Let's imagine that the customer is interested in a 5-year contract, 60 months. And we need to make some assessment of the print usage behavior of the customer. So this would require some level of conversation with them. And let's imagine that this customer is printing around 100 square meters per month. This is about 4 A0s. A square meter is about 1 A0. So 4 A0s per day, approximately. So 100 per month, okay? And then in this section here, what you need to do is make some estimate of the print mix that the customer will be doing. You have see here from categories, monoline, color lines, maps or renders, and high density that would be posters. You have here some examples of types of files. So here you need to define the mix. In this case, we consider, let's imagine this is a technical AEC construction company. They're printing mostly mono and color lines, like 50 and 30. You can change that, and they need to add 100%. And with that, we're already done. We get here in the top part the two numbers that we are interested. This is the click rate for square meters, and this is the click rate for milliliters. So, and this click rate includes the service and maintenance and the supplies. Okay? So at the end of the month, this is the variable part of the printing. Number of square meters reported in PartnerLink, you multiply per the click rate of a square meter. Otherwise, if the customer prefer to be invoiced in milliliters, the variable part of the consumption will be number of milliliters reported in PartnerLink for that customer, and apply this rate of the click. Then, as I said before, in the billing tool, in the categories, when we talk in square meters, we can have very different, let's say, click rate. You can see that mono drawing has 0.52 in this case, but high density it's 2.8. So what we have done here is based on this mix, we have make the average click rate for square meters. But if you want to minimize even the risk, you can talk to the customer and tell, I will invoice you by category. So this is the click rate per category. So at the end of the month, the machine will tell me the number of square meters printed in each category, and I will invoice by the click rate of each of the categories. This is a way to minimize your exposure of customer changing the mix from what you have forecasted at the beginning. Okay? Then, in the bottom part here, you have more information in the output. What you can have here, it's a summary for the customer, because when you go and visit a customer, he will be interested, okay, in what's going to be my monthly cost for printing. So with these assumptions we did before, like 100 square meters and this mix of printing, you have here a summary of what's going to be the final invoice per month. So in this case, the equipment is 70 euros per month. This is going to be the base fee every month is going to be 70 euros. And this is the variable part, service and supplies. This 0.85 is going to be multiplied by the number of prints done, will give you the total estimate of monthly billing you will do, the customer will be seeing. Okay? If you want to do the breakdown in the cost per square meter that we see before, you can see here the square meter cost is 0.85 here. You can see the 0.85 here, which includes service and supplies. But eventually, some customers want the hardware also to be included in the cost per square meter. That's not a problem. You convert the monthly fee of the hardware, the 70, by the square meters printed, and you make it variable as well, and you add to the service and supplies rate, and you get a final number, a single square meter price, including the hardware. For the financing, to calculate these 70 euros, of course, we need to consider the price of the hardware that we have selected. And also here what we have is the lease rates of your bank. The bank that will be providing the leasing will be providing a lease rate depending on the length of the contract. You can change those numbers, and it calculates the monthly fee for the lease device. Okay. Then finally, another interesting information that the tool will provide to you is this one. So this will tell for that specific customer and for that specific usage of printing, how many ink cartridges will be used along the year, how many print heads, and how many visits you need to forecast. Okay, this is important for you to make sure you have a good forecast of supplies and spare parts, and to dimension your service visits as well. Okay. Finally, this tool allows you to compare for that specific customer what would be for other products we have the optimal total cost of print. So here what we have is for that customer, remember we say 100 square meters per month, we compare other products in that range. So you see all the breakdown from the equipment price, service, supplies and services, and you can compare the monthly estimate that the customer will have. Okay, so here you have a graphical view of the different elements. So for that type of customer, the more optimal products are these two, the T1600 and the T1700. Very similar total cost of ownership. Here the driver would be more the size. If they want 44 inches, the T1700. If they want 36 inches, T1600. Now you may wonder where all the costs to make these calculations are coming from. So here it's a pre-populated cost. Let's start with the hardware. So all the hardware devices, you have the list prices and the price that you can get from the distributor. But it's true that sometimes we can have special pricing or special discounts. So in case you have a promotion or have a special negotiated price, let's imagine a 5% additional discount, you will see how these prices will be converted and changed. Okay? So these new prices of hardware will be reflected in the new click prices that you will get in the first part of the Excel file I showed before. If you have already specific prices that you want to plug, you can override. So you can go here and let's imagine that you have a price in your wholesaler, let's imagine of 2,700, even cheaper. So this 2,700 will be reflected here in the file. Okay. Then supplies and services. Supplies and services, what you need to inputs you need to put here is what is your labor cost of your technicians, and this is the average intervention. Typically, we recommend to put. It's the travel plus the intervention time. Okay. And here you have the supplies margins you want to get. So how much margin you want to get in the supplies, how much margin you want to get in the parts of care packs, and how much you want to get in the labor. Okay, so you can modify those margins so you can make it accurate to your needs. There is one specific cell here that we consider this as a safety net. It's kind of a percentage that you can use to protect yourself and put some level of errors in your calculations or in the consumption of the customer. And we put that because sometimes customer may be replacing the cartridge that you are shipping before the cartridge is completely out of ink. So in this case, we recommend to put here from 0 to 5%, so you can cover this variability. Okay, it's kind of a safety net for you. Okay, so this is about the pricing tool. Okay, remember you need to put here the device, length of the contract, the print volume, square meters printed per month, and the mixed. Okay, and it gives you the two key numbers here: square meter price, including service and supplies, and milliliter price, including service and supplies. Okay, this will help you to create your billings for your customer. So this is about the pricing tool that will help you to do billing in your contracts. Thanks a lot for your time.